Hey Scale Nation, Joe and Steve back in the range. Are we calling it the garage or are we calling it the range now?
Range.
Coming to do a little bit of practice tonight, a little bit of trigger therapy during some tough times is sometimes exactly what the doctor has ordered, except for the doctor is ordering face masks and ventilators. Instead, we have eye protection and trigger fingers. So let's go on with that. Good discussions today on the Scale Freak Facebook talking about different things. And I mentioned some of the training exercises or training anythings that we've been doing in the little homemade range that we've got here in the garage. And I wanted to kind of show you what we're going through. As we talked about, we are going to start kind of a Airsoft for beginners thing because we are beginners. Steve's got a long history in real steel shooting, but the Airsoft stuff, we're all pretty new. And it's a big learning experience at this point. And definitely a huge thumbs up to all of the YouTubers and real steel people that got a lot of great videos online. T-Rex Arms, Garen Thumb, just to name a couple of the real steel guys that I'm non-stop watching, and Red Wolf Airsoft and stuff like that, putting on some really cool clinics. Toronto Airsoft, stuff like that. Some really neat stuff online that we've been watching. But we've been practicing a few things, and as discussed today, I said I kind of wanted to put one of the things that I've been working on. We will talk later more about the gear that we've got. There will be some begin to Airsoft, how to get gear, how to pick gear, what kind of things we're going to be getting into. That's all to come. First, we have to learn a little bit more about it ourselves. But the whole goal right now is to figure out what works for us and practice with what works for us. So let's show you tonight just one of the exercises that we've been going through. A couple things I want to get out of the way right now. Number one, Steve and I are very new at this. So if we say the wrong thing or we do the wrong thing, listen, don't flame us in the comments field below. How about we use this as a learning experience if there's something that you want to teach us? The second, let's talk about my Umarex Glock 17 Gen 5. This thing is brand new. I've gone through it a couple times and cleaned it. But as we also know, running these things in the cold, because it is gas pistol, in the cold, I already know that it usually misses every other shot right now. I know there's a few things I can do with adjusting the hop. I also know there's a few things I can do with warming the gas up. But as it sits right now, I'm actually using this malfunction as a training aid, and you'll see as we go. The second, this is the wife's Arcturus, okay? I know, again, this thing does not shoot straight, and I also know that this thing is missing the odd round. Again, no adjustments. It hasn't been in for tech. We basically put a battery in it, put a magazine in it, I put an optic on it, and we've been firing it nonstop. I actually want this gun to fail, and you'll see why. But please, before you get into the comment sections with some nasty talk, I'm up for criticism, I'm up for suggestions, so is Steve, but know that we know that these firearms, actually Steve's is running pretty perfect, but we know that the firearms that I'm using are not running perfect, and I haven't even started to tech them yet. You'll see why. So what this exercise is it's kind of like an identification, but also a reload. So what I'm going to do, I've got these mid-cap mags set to only 30 rounds, and I'm going to fire at target. I'm going to go from low ready, pop it up, find my sight picture, and fire. And then down and fire, and down and fire. I have 6 targets that I can fire at, and I'm going to fire at any of them. Now again, I know that this rifle is going to malfunction. It is not going to fire. I think it's like 1 out of 3 rounds it's not going to fire, maybe more. But what I do is I treat that as a gun jam. So I immediately drop, grab my pistol. Guys, before you yell at me, I'm keeping my fingers off. Grab my pistol, fire at my target. As soon as I hit the target, which we're using, what are these targets?
They're 100-yard small rifle targets.
So we're only 30 feet away, so do the math on what 30 feet to 100 yards is. But again, it's mostly a pistol drill. It's mostly a swap thing. The rifle's going to hit it from anywhere. So I hit center on target, throw it back, bring this back up, drop, grab a new, lock it in, re-index, and continue to fire. Now, yes, I do know that every single time I change this mag, I'm going to drop 3. That's just what happens. It's what loads in there. These things here, with the way we buy them, they wind up being 0.05 cents each. So I lose 1.5 cents every time I change a mag. For a drill exercise, yeah, I have no problem with that.
It's a lot cheaper than shooting real steel.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot cheaper than shooting real steel. Only every time you change the mag, you won't lose a round on that one. So with this one here, what you will see is I'll bring it up, I'll fire, and every time I hear a malfunction, I will drop, grab my pistol, finish my target, put my pistol back, get up, drop my mag, put a new one in, and then re-index because I know that that mag is not empty, so I'll come back to it. I'm also a drill for being able to re-index. Sometimes I have to look, sometimes I don't. But definitely one thing I learned is always make sure the eye pro is on, because from here, from my peripheral, I can actually see my mags just from my eye line of sight. But if I put these on, I can no longer see this front row anymore. So I actually have to concentrate on where I'm putting them back into again because I've missed them more than a few times. On the front of this, you'll see pistol mag, M4, 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 and then 2 underneath here. Now, once I can identify that one of these ones is full empty, I'll just toss it and then pull the next one out of here. That's kind of how I run it. I won't go through all 5 mags right now, but that's how it works. All right, guys, so time to load it up, fire it up, and, well, let's show you what I'm up to. Already a failure. Now dump in. Oh, safety. This is the point of practicing, right? Low ready, put the safety back on. Pull it back up, safety off, fire. Oh. First one. See, this is why we practice. Oh, went on auto. So the goal is, every time I'm firing, once I put it back into low ready again, I'm automatically flicking the safety on the other side. Now with this rifle, sometimes it goes too far, sometimes it'll stick in the middle, but this thing here, if you go too far, full auto. If you even go a little bit past, full auto. So you've got to watch for that. I know a lot of fields don't allow that, so I've got to be careful. So I have to learn how to bring it up and down without putting it on full auto. And I've got to figure out faster ways. Oh. Now, a couple of you might notice I might do things a little bit different because you also might notice I'm left-handed. So my pistol is on my left side, but I'm also right-eye dominant, so I have to be very careful to bring this up. But then when I pull my pistol, I've got to bring it weird in front of me in order to find that sight picture very quickly and fire, and then bring this back up again. Very interesting. I tried for a while to use my pistol on my right side. It wasn't working. And Steve, I'm being very careful not to chicken wing because otherwise you will yell at me. One more thing, it's always great having a training partner with you to yell at you every time you do something stupid like bring your arm out like this to fire. Yeah, he'll be like, good! And just for fun, change every once in a while, put this back in. It's also very important to always train with your equipment on because you need to know where everything is going to be. When you throw your rifle down, you have to know exactly where it's going to be. Very fortunate to have this. because the first couple times I threw the rifle down, I did sack myself.
Hey guys, okay, so my drills that I've been working on are different than Joe's. Unfortunately, I don't have my pistol set up ready. I don't have a holster for my pistol at this point. So I've just been practicing my low readies and high readies and just getting on target as quickly as possible and transitioning between targets. So still trying to work on that because it's still all, like I said, new to me. As much as I'm familiar with real steel, it's all bullseye shooting, so not this dynamic shooting that this is. So very new to me. And so here's what I've been practicing from low ready. And then when I'm practicing my high ready, I got to get used to this because when you're doing CQB, the high ready is what they recommend from a lot of the pros that I've been watching because it's less chance of your gun getting accidentally maybe shooting somebody in the leg or anything like that. So just trying to practice this. Got to get used to where the safety switch is too.
That's the fun stuff, right? Just like we used to say in the RC world, that most of the time it's all just about, no, well, actually, funny enough to say, I used to say it's all about knowing your weapon when here we are trying to learn our weapons.
And I don't have an ambidextrous safety on this, so unfortunately I only have the single one, and so getting used to it, even when because I can't feel it on this side where it is sometimes. So still just keep practicing the whole. So all depends on. I have the gun up and high ready. I have a hard time putting the safety back on, but low ready.
All right, you can see the target behind us. We do a pretty good job of hitting the center. A lot of this stuff you see on the outside is actually just because Tosh's rifle, again, it's a spray and pray sometimes. It's really all over the place. That and when you're transitioning to a pistol very, very quickly, you might not get your sight picture immediately, and it takes a couple to get in there. I'm still learning how to use the steel, what are they called?
Iron sights?
The iron sights a little bit better. I'm learning how to figure out what all the names are. I'm learning out iron sights a lot better, but it takes me a couple seconds to dial it in. Now here's a neat thing. And first, so when I made the video about building this target system, immediately after Ketty, now we used to bring him into all of our conversations about RC. Now apparently he's going to be in all of our conversations about shooting as well. He immediately said, I have an idea on how to keep the garage a lot cleaner. He goes, why don't you build little baskets at the bottom? So he suggested that we used zip ties to put this whole thing together on the bottom, and it collects all the shots as we go. It keeps the floor a hell of a lot cleaner. And then Steve was out here one day and went, don't we have all those metal rods when we were going to host that scale competition? And I said, yeah. And then like 45 minutes later, I get a picture saying, I've made something new, no more. And now they actually have baskets weaved into all of them with metal rods in here to keep all of these. Now, all of this stuff, we're firing off thousands of pellets in here. And now there's almost no mess on the ground anymore, except for where I keep changing mags, because as I said, I drop 3 with every mag change. So, but that's kind of what we're up to. So there is still RC stuff. I promise it's still here. But this rate now, we were prepping for the summer, but it seems that everything has been canceled. And before there's any conversation about social distancing, Steve's a part of the family. He lives in the household. He's here 24 hours a day. We are social distancing from the world by sitting in the garage and shooting stuff. We're ready.
Good stress relief.
Yeah, it is. Trigger therapy with these little bad boys right here is an absolutely beautiful thing. We will go through more videos as the beginner's guide. I just wanted to talk about this little training exercise that we're doing. And again, huge shout out to guys like T-Rex Arms, Lucas, to Garen Thumb and things like that for all of the exercises that we're learning the real steel stuff and then practicing it in the garage and trying to get faster. It's getting better because a few days ago I kept missing my holster with my sidearm. I kept missing the mag pouches. I forgot the names already with the mags and trying to reload them again. I kept dropping it on the ground. You saw it once, but I kept dropping tons of them on the ground. So we go faster and faster every day, firing off thousands of rounds in here. So it's awesome. So, guys, I wanted to get that out to you. Thank you very much for watching. Steve, thanks for coming out and hanging out with all your gear. And if you guys have any questions and comments, again, please, constructive criticism. We're very new at this. Please put them in the comments field down below. Otherwise, click like, click subscribe, share throughout your community. Helps a ton. All right, guys, have a great night.